Hi, this is my guide on how to build your own ITX PC. An ITX PC is a small computer around the size of a shoebox, depending on the case. They often use cheaper and smaller parts in comparison to their larger counterparts, the micro ATX and ATX computers, which are prevalent in today's market. Some of the advantages to building your own ITX are that they're cheaper, smaller, and require a lot less time to build. So you'd be saving yourself money, time, and space. Get the joke? However, this computer is no joke. You can do a lot of things on it. It can play basic games that don't require too much resources. You can also do a lot of your office work on them. If you're a student or the owner of a small business, you could most likely put these to good use. And the best part is, they don't require that much previous knowledge in computer building. How can you get started? Well, here's a list of materials you will need. I will also post a link in the video description on which parts you'll need for this. I've chosen a very specific list, so I would highly recommend you follow my list. But the materials you will need generally are 2 SATA cables, 1 hard drive, 1 power supply, 1 power cord for the power supply, 1 motherboard, 1 CPU, 2 sticks of DDR3 RAM, 1 DVD player, and an ISO shield. But you should keep in mind that with this build, if you follow my recommendations, the motherboard and the CPU will come together as a combo, so there's no need for the extra labor. And in most cases, the power supply comes with the power cord. As for the ISO shield, most motherboards also come with an ISO shield, so there's no need to worry about it if you follow my list. Now here are a set of instructions on how to build your own computer. Be sure to have the parts and the materials I've listed ready. This guide will work best if you use the parts that I've recommended, as I've mentioned. So let's get to it. We're going to start off by taking off the screws on the back of the case. There should be about 4 of these. Once we take them off, we'll be able to gently slide off the top of the case without damaging it. And now we can move on to the ISO shield. The ISO shield will be placed right there in that slot. And we're going to push it in from behind until it clicks into place and is secure. Moving on, we have the foundation of the motherboard. The foundation is 4 screws, which are placed in before the motherboard. They have hollow tops, and they come with the case. And we're ready for the next step. This is DDR3 RAM. This is very specific RAM for this computer. We're going to need to gently push it in and downwards until it clicks into place. Gently. Now, repeat the same step for the other stick of RAM. Push it in and downwards, gently, until it clicks. We're going to need to make some space for the DVD drive, so gently apply pressure to the bottom of the case cover until it pops off. Now that the front cover is gone, we need to push inwards until the DVD cover pops off. Now that's gone. Gently push in the DVD drive, but be sure to unlock the locking mechanism first. Now gently shove it in until it's snug. Once it's snug, lock the locking mechanism back and place the cover back into place. There are 4 corners you need to push. Alright, we're ready for the hard drive. So we're going to pull out the hard drive slider gently so it doesn't break. We're going to need to place the hard drive on top of the slider and then screw it into place. But once we're done screwing it into place, we're going to gently slide it in forward without breaking it. And once we're done, we're ready for the front audio cables. Now the front audio cable has a connector. You're going to need to find the pins for it as you can see. Gently place it on top of the pins, push it down, don't break it. The same applies for the USB connector, which is blue. It's you can visually tell it apart. Don't break it, push it down. These are the front light and front power button. You're going to need to use a magnifying glass or glasses if you have a hard time reading these, because the print is very, very tiny. Push it down and make sure you don't break the pins, and once that's over with, move on to the next step. Alright, it's time to put the motherboard in. Now remember, when you're putting the motherboard in, the peripheral side has to face the ISO shield. We can confirm this by looking at the peripherals. They're popping out of the ISO shield as they should. Now it's time to move on. We're going to screw in the motherboard so that's it's in place. And once that's over, we're going to move on to the case fan. Now the case fan is going to have a cord. It's going to be black. We're going to push it into the connector for the fan. Right there, it's next to the CPU fans connector. Just don't damage it. And once we're done, we're going to move on to the SATA cables. This red SATA cable is going to be going into the DVD drive, so pop it into place. And then gently pop it into the SATA connector on the DVD drive. Once that's done, we're going to move on to the hard drive. Just do the exact same thing. Gently place it into the hard drive SATA connector. And moving on to the power supply, there is a 16-pin connector on the motherboard, as you can see. And there's also a 4-pin connector, which you need to find. Now we're going to push in the power connector for the 16-pin. Apply some force, but don't damage the pin or the connector. Now find the 4-pin connector. They sometimes come in twos, you only need one. Now gently apply some force, but don't break either the pin or the connector, as I've said. And once we're done with that, we're gonna move on to the DVD drive. Now the power connector on that is a flat head. It's recognizable by its visual design. We're gonna do the same thing for the hard drive. Just gently push it in so you don't damage the power connector on the hard drive or the cable itself. And we're done. Moving on to the case fan, the connectors are also recognizable. We plug those in. And now we're going to put the power supply in the actual case. Just slide it in, put it into place. We're going to screw it in as well. And once we're done screwing it in, it'll be set to get connected to a power outlet. Alright. Here's the power cable. Don't connect it to a power outlet just yet. Alright, this is good. That's the power button. You're going to need to turn it on and off if you want to use the front power button. And we're done. Just slide in the case and apply the last screws on the back of the case, and your computer is ready. Good job. I'm proud of you. Now, if you're done building your computer, I have a few recommendations that I've provided as links in the video description. Some of these are Ubuntu and a set of different utilities which you can find for free. And I wish you luck in your endeavors. Have a happy journey and safe surfing on the internet.